there! Welcome to One Code Camp channel. My name is Ian, and today we're going to be diving in the world of JavaScript. And we actually have an exciting project in hand, which is a love calculator. So for today, if you guys ever wondered how those fun compatibility app works on the back end, today we're going to be building something quite similar for us to understand how it happens. So I will be demonstrating how we can apply the concept of randomization, control flow, and of course, calculation, all using just JavaScript. So if you're just into your first steps into learning the fundamentals of JavaScript, or you're just in the mood to spread some love, you're in the right place because we'll get you busy with some coding exercises. So let's start. The way we're going to be randomizing our result, or the way we are going to be requesting for random numbers to be generated with our game, is by the use of the JavaScript function Math.random. So with the help of Math.random, we can come up with a certain percentage from the range that we will be specifying in our game. This is actually a very popular function that JavaScript programmers use whenever they will need the use case, or whenever they are in a situation that they will be needing a random number to be generated, which the best case would be if they will be building another game or any other app like this one that we're building right now. So the way it works is that it actually provides us, whenever we call this function with numbers that is from 0 inclusive and up to this 0.9999, this is actually 16 decimal places, any numbers between this range, but not until the whole number 1. So the way we are going to use this in our code is, of course, we will store it in a variable. In our case, I just come up with n for simplicity, and then we call in the function directly. And then whenever we run this code, we will be provided with a value of this sort, and in another run, it will be this sort, or any other numbers that you can think of between those range that we mentioned from earlier. Now, of course, this is not the range that we would like our app to be generating. So the way we can have it up until to 100 is to multiply this value that we were able to get from the value or for 100, which is the value that we want to set in our game specifically. So in here, for example, we run in the Math.random code, and we would like to get a range from 0 to 100. We will be using, or we will be specifying that number in here directly. So in our case, since we want to get the maximum number of 100, we are writing 101 in here because it will be exclusive of 101, and the maximum value that it will be generating will be 100. And then we will just need to write that down in here specifically. And then once let's say this is actually the number that we're getting from a certain line or a certain round of the game we're playing, we will be getting this number now since we are multiplying it to 101. And then now, of course, we would want to get rid of the decimal places that we're seeing in here. I don't think it will be ideal for us to be showing that or showing this value in our love calculator application. So the way we can get rid of this extra decimal places is to use another function, which will be the math.floor function. And this is how you write it in here. You use the math.floor function and then enclose the first set of codes inside a parentheses. Now that the way that math.floor function works is that it just rounds this result, this value that we got from this line of code, to the nearest decimal place value, or the nearest whole number value. So in here, since we got this number, we will just be getting rid of all the extra decimal places, and we'll just get the number 88 directly as the value for the n variable that we declared. Right, so for us to get started, let us create our project folder. Here in my desktop I'll be creating a new folder, and then let's name it Love Calculator. And then we want to open this inside our code editor, which will be Visual Studio. So let me bring my Visual Studio code in here, and then we're just going to basically open the file from here. So go to Desktop, and then open the Love Calculator folder that we created. Okay, so with building our application, and well, with any other application in general, we will need to first create the structure of our app. And that's going to be handled by an HTML file. So here, inside our project directory, let us create a new file, and let's give it a name of index.html. And then here, we're just going to be getting our HTML boilerplate by typing in the exclamation mark, and then click tab, and then click click this emmet abbreviation for us to be auto-populated with this boilerplate. Now here, we will just need to change the title. Let's give it lab calculator as well. Okay, there you go. Let me also fix the indentation. Small details, but very important. Okay, all right, there you go. And then, well, of course, on the latter part of our coding, we will also be creating a CSS file for us to somehow make our application a bit visually presentable. And then we also wanted to import the JavaScript file in here. Source is going to be, let's just name it script.js. Okay, well, let's go ahead and create those two other files in here. So for CSS, it's style.css, and JavaScript will be script.js. Okay, there you go. Let's go back to index.html and build the structure of our application. Now I'm going to start with containing everything in a single HTML element, which is this div container. We wanted to give it a name. Let's just go for container for simplicity, because we are going to be targeting this container, this HTML element, in our styling later on. Now, we wanted to include like a title, maybe, in our application. Let's just put in here, love calculator, or maybe let's try to be more creative in here. Let's say, how likely are you to gonna end up to be? I'm in the mood for some typing, so why not? Okay, and then let's add another h2 tag in here, and then this starts our application. Okay, and then down here on our title is where we are going to be creating input fields so that our users can be placing or can place the names of their loved ones or their partners or whoever they wanted to see the love percentage for. So in here, whoops, why is this not auto-populating? Okay, there you go. So we want to use the input tag, and then here we'll leave it as a text type, and then we are going to be including in here an ID name as well. For the first input field, let's give it a name of name1. And then I am not going to be making any label on each field, so maybe let's just go for a placeholder. Okay, and the first input field is going to be your name or the user's name. Let's add in here your name, and then let's just copy and paste this. For the second field, we want to be, of course, capturing the name of the other person that they want to use the test for. Let's just put in here their name or maybe partner's name. I think that sounds better. Okay, partner's name. Let's make that P uppercase. Okay, looking better. And then, of course, we will need to trigger the calculation and the entire logic of our program. So let's add it here, a button. It's going to submit the information that we have input here on these fields. So we are now, we are going to be using an on-click method. And then here, we are going to be invoking or be calling a function. Let's call the function maybe calculate love. Okay, that's the function that we are going to be creating on our JavaScript file later on. And then let's just put a label here inside our button. Let's just say submit. Or since we're feeling extra creative tonight, let's just go for maybe let fate decide. Sounds super cheesy, right? Okay. And then, of course, we want to have some space for where we wanted to display the result of our game, maybe down here, down below our button. Let's give it also an ID name. Let's go for result. Oops. Okay. All right. And there we have it. I think I'm good with the structure with our HTML file. Now let's go to JavaScript. Or maybe we can see how this is going on so far. Let's click our Visual Studio Code or our live server. And then let's open that up. Mine open up in here. Let me just bring this here on our working monitor. And maybe we can minimize the file explorer. Okay, and then squeeze these two windows here. Okay. Let's make that a bit smaller. Okay, So this is now how our app looks like at this point. Pretty neat, right? Everything's here. Everything that we need so far is here. A very catchy title, and then the fields for our inputs, and then our button, which is of course not working as of the moment. We'll work on that next. Don't worry, but let's go ahead and get started with putting in the code for our button. Okay, so let's go to the script.js file. Now here in our JavaScript file, let's see. It's not opening, loading up really slow. Okay, there you go. All right, so first we are going to be making a function. So since the function that we created back from our index HTML file is a calculate love, I forgot that already. So let me just type in here, calculate love. Okay, this is how we create a function. We of course need to use the keyword function, followed by whatever name you wanted to give to this function or to the function that you'll be creating. And then inside the curly braces are all the conditions and all the instructions that you wanted this function to to play, or whatever conditions you wanted to take place whenever this function is being called. Now let's start with declaring some variables. First would be, we would like of course to get the name inputs or the name values that our user supplemented with us using those fields. So the way we do it is that we will be creating a variable. I am naming it name1. And then the way that we can target the input or the value of those input from our HTML file is we're going to be using the keyword document, which refers to the HTML file connected with our JavaScript. And then it should be followed by the method get element by ID. Okay, so this get element by ID is going to scan through our HTML file and we'll be looking for a specific ID name of all of those HTML element and tags. And this is where you can specify the name that you're looking for. So for us, if I remember correctly, we named them name1 and name2. These are actually the files or the HTML tags that we're looking for. So whatever is being inputted in here, we wanted that to be captured. And again, we are targeting them, or we're making that connection by mentioning or by calling these ID names from our JavaScript file. And then in here, we will just need to put in the keyword value. And then we will just need to, just value auto-populated. And it did that again. Let's see. Okay, there you have it. And then let me just copy and paste this. We were just going to be changing it to name2 instead. So change that to 2 as well as the ID name in here. Okay, there you go. Now then that we have the connection between our JavaScript file and our HTML file, we are now going to do the actual logic. Now in here, we want to be using our Math.random method. So in here, let's create another variable. So the actual score or the actual percentage that we want to be generated, let's store that in a variable we will be naming love score. And then the way that we can come up with the love score is to be using the Math.random function from JavaScript. The way this works is that it will help us generate a random number from 0 to 0.9, anything between those numbers, but not until the number 1. Now, how are we going to make it until 100%? So the way we're doing it is we are going to, once we got the random number from here, which is again anything from 0 to 0.9, we are going to have it multiply to 101. And then, of course, we wanted to limit the value or to get the value in here with no decimal places. So we're going to be using another JavaScript method, which is the floor method. We just need to enclose these guys inside another set of parentheses. There we have it. And then next would be, of course, once we have the lab score from this computation that we indicated up here, we're now going to have that displayed back to the index element or the index location in here. This div element serves as like a placeholder on where we wanted to put the result once the calculation has been finished rendering. So this is the place that it's going to be put on. Now, we're trying to make that connection this time with that HTML tag. So I'm creating another variable. Let's name it result element. And then now we are going to again just target that specific HTML element in here. If you remember, we're using to identify it by their ID name, right? And its ID name is result. Okay. All right. So once we have that, down in here is where we're going to have it rendered. So once we have made the connection in here, we're just going to be using the same variable, result element, and then this time we're going to be using the that inner HTML property. That inner HTML property is what's going to help us fill out any value that we're going to identify between these codes to be placed on inside this div container on every iteration or on every run of our calculate love function. So let's do that right now. So maybe we wanted to mention the inputs in our field. Maybe it'll be better if we use concatenation, or maybe let's go for template literals. Now, template literals will help us put in or like integrate the values in here that we're going to be capturing to the string directly without making any sort of concatenation. This is like way easier than like exiting the set of quotation mark and using the plus sign. So we're going to use that here. This will also give us that convenience of having values in here coded or being rendered dynamically. So now that we captured the first name and then the second name, let's say love score is, first we wanted to input, of course, the love score that we're able to capture. So we're calling that variable love score. And then let's just add in here a percent sign. Okay, let's see how this is going. Okay, so that's pretty much the main logic of our code. Let's see if it works. So I'm saving everything. And then here, let's try to put in any name in here. So I'm putting Ian. And then let's just go for Brad. And then let's click this button, let fate decide. And there we have it. Appears to be working. So it says in here that Ian and Brad's lab score is 12%. Although that's very, very sad result. So this 12% out of 100. Let me just quickly check our console for errors, and there's no error, which means that our code is running smoothly and we have not missed anything or coded anything incorrectly. So let me close this. And now, of course, let's add a bit of a customization on our page so it looks kind of nice than just this plain boring up. So first, maybe we can target the body. And then inside the body, well, let's set another set of font. Let's just go for Arial, which you guys hear. Okay, let's just go for this first one. Okay, and then aside from the font, we also wanted everything to be aligned in the center. So we're saying in here center. And let's also change the background color. Okay, we're going for, let me see. Let's look for a really nice, maybe something that's light pink, maybe. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't look like, it doesn't like have the feel of a lab calculator to me. So maybe let's just change that. Let's pick a color from here. I don't have the codes for the colors memorized. So I'm actually like, I think let's go for a pretty pink color. But of course, we don't want to overwhelm our elements or our content. So let's try this light pink color. Is this better? No, I think let's go for an even lighter one. Something like this. Let's see. I think that should do it. I'm actually like thinking of changing the font color. So maybe let's just stick with a lighter background so the font color can pop up appropriately. Okay, now remember that we enclose everything in a container. We're now going to target that HTML element, which is basically just everything inside our HTML file. So inside, we will just wanna change the background color again. Let's see. I think this color works great as well. Let's see how it looks like. Doesn't show any much change, right? Okay, maybe let's just leave it as is. Maybe we can just remove this. Let's see what's going to happen if we remove this. Oh, I see. Okay. So there is a difference of the color. I didn't notice that at first. But maybe let's just stick with this one, the color for our container div. And then here, I wanted to, let's maybe add some padding. 20 pixels of padding. Let's make this styling quick since I actually want us to have more time discussing about the JavaScript because we want to add some more logic in our calculator love function. Do we want a box shadow? Okay. Hang on just a second. ID container. Do we want a box shadow? Maybe not this time. Let's just skip that part. Now we're trying to change the font color of our heading one. I'm going for like a peachy color. Let me see. I think that's in FF. Let me look it up real quick. Okay. Here is the code. I'm looking specifically for a color. Okay, I think this is the one we're looking for. Let me check real quick. Okay, this is the one. And then aside from the font color, let us also, I think that's it for our H1 tag. Now let us go for the button as well. So let's type in here button. Let's also give it a background color. Do we want the same? Okay, let's go for the same one for uniformity. And then maybe let's change the font color for the button as well. Let's just copy the background of our app. And then let's make that kind of curvy or kind of circular. Border radius of 5 pixels. Okay, and I think also let's just remove the border, like the outline of the border. I think it looks better that way. And then we are going to be also adding in some quick animation or just like a quick effect. We want for it to somehow give us the feel that it is being hovered on whenever the cursor points to it. So let's add in here a button hover. Button hover. Why are we getting? There should be no space in here. Okay. All right. So let's just kind of change the background color of the button if in the case that a cursor hovers over it. So I think it should just be the same background color but a bit darker than it. So I am looking up the specific color code in here. Okay. All right. I think that is better. Okay. And then lastly, I think the resolve, the text in here is kind of too close for the rest of them. So let's just put a bit of space in here. Let's just put it lower. So the way we do it is let's just add in a margin top of maybe 50 pixels. Or is that too big? Okay, I think that works. Okay. All right, and then maybe we can also change the font color of that. Let's just copy this one from the H1 tag. Okay, and I think we're done styling. Okay, I'm pretty much happy with this. This is not responsive. So as you can see, this should be in line. The button should be like in line together with the two input fields. But this is how it looks like on a full page or in a full screen. It looks better than what we have from before. Okay, so we're done with CSS. Now that's out of the way. Let's continue working on our JavaScript file. As you can see, it is pretty much functional. Let's try to change the name, but what we want to happen in here is to add a bit more text in our result. Let's go ahead and add like some ranges for us to be able to display more text if the result is being returned in a certain, let's say, range. So the way we do that is, let's see, maybe we can add in another variable. And I'm naming it let cheesy statement, since that's exactly what we're going for. Okay, and we are initializing it as an empty string, and this is what's going to determine the string that's going to go inside them. So we're using, of course, the lab score variable. Now, we're saying that if the love score variable is anything greater than 90, which is what we are all aiming for, we are going to provide the cheesiest statement in here. So maybe let's just go for, wow, your love is on fire. And to add a bit feel to our app, I'm adding emojis. Hope that renders well here on our page. But let's see. And then in here, of course, we're going to add in another else if statement. So the next range would be anything that greater than 70. So this range now talks about anything that's between 89 to 70. And then what we want to say this time is, let me think. I should have come up with these statements early on, but maybe we can just say, since 70 is a pretty good score still, maybe we can say you two are a perfect match. So being on fire is better than being a perfect match. What's happening to me? But yeah, I think that'll do. I'm adding another emoji in here, cute little heart. Okay. We're adding in another else if statement. Maybe we can just copy this since we have a number of ranges to cover. And here, we are catching the lab score of anything between 69 to 50. And we want to say, I think that's still a pretty good score. So let's tell them love is in the air. We're getting there, guys. Need to work it out more. Okay, let's replace the heart emoji. Oops. Okay. So this time, anything that is between 49 to 30. Okay. That's a pretty low score since it's below half already. So let's just say there's some potential. Give them some hope. The little girls who's going to use our love calculator app won't be happy if we get straight to the point or be straightforward with them. So just give them a bit of something to cling on to. I don't know where the need of predicting how other people feel comes from, but that's just how girls are. Okay, so maybe let's use this emoji since it mentions spark. Okay, all right. And then maybe we are down with our last statement. Let me see. Let's put a space in here. Okay, so if it's anything that's below 30, our cheesy statement, which should not be cheesy anymore. Let's just say in here, remember to not let down their hopes. Let's just say, don't worry, love grows with time. Okay, and then let's just use this cute emoji to hype the hope. I hope so. I hope it did the work for them. Okay, now of course we wanted to change this string in here since we have a new variable to be inputting. So this time, we want to say we're keeping the names love score. That's still there. And then maybe we can add in here. We will just be putting in here or adding the cheesy statement. Cheesy statement. Okay, all right. Let's give this a try. Saving everything. Okay. All right, so let's go for Ian. Let's go for maybe Leo. Ian and Leo's love score is 12%. This is the same percentage that we got from earlier, right? Here we have a bug. Let's make sure that that is just a coincidence. We of course don't want the same person to keep on appearing every time. Now maybe we can also add in a feature wherein after a result has been rendered, this should be cleared, so the user can put in another name. Of course, we don't have only one crush. It's a little girl, right? You should have a lot. So let's go for James. It's a 17 this time. Okay, looking good since it changed. But yeah, let's try to apply that feature. We wanted this to be cleared out. So maybe we can just add Z in here. Okay. And then the way we do that is that we are just going to target those fields back from our HTML file. And if you remember, we targeted them by mentioning or by indicating their ID names. Okay, and then what's going to happen is that we will be assigning them a value which is just an empty string at the very end of everything, so that our function lets these two fields in here to be cleared after a certain round, or after a certain the function has been run once. Okay, there you go. It's still here. Why is this still here? Oh, that's because I forgot to change this number to. Okay, let's do that again. Try just typing in a random name. 96%, it's pretty high. I hope that's a real name. Okay, 96%. Okay. And okay, well, there is something ongoing in here. As you can see, if we press the button, it still renders percentage, and we don't want that to happen. So let's catch that. I think we wanted that here after declaring the variable. So what we wanted to not happen is, of course, for it to render a result without inputting a name. They're gonna know that it's not really love. So let's catch that scenario. So we are now telling our JavaScript file to catch the scenario wherein if the name1 field or if the name2 field is empty, we are going to throw them an error. And maybe let's just do it by showing an alert. Please enter both names. Whoops. This should be enclosed in the quotation mark. Okay, see if it works. Okay, there you go. Here's our alert. Cheese. And then it's still displaying a result here. Let's just use in here a return. Try that again. Okay, nothing's appearing in here anymore. Okay, so there we have it. The project is actually done. As you can see, again, by using JavaScript, we were able to use the highlight, actually, which is the Math.random function. We're also able to show you control flows, or how the flow of our JavaScript file looks like, and of course, the computation that we wanted to be rendered just in case the input or our program or our app hits a certain parameter or hits a certain direction or value. So that is it again for us. I hope you were able to pick up a thing or two. I hope you were able to enjoy our app. You can feel free to share this with your friends, or to work on it further, like add more features if you want to. You can customize this further by using CSS or by any other CSS frameworks. Feel free to do so. And that's it for me. Again, my name is Ian, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!